Hello? 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 Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can hear right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So any project you are working on right now?
Me?
Yes.
No, sir. I am just focusing my thesis, and I am supporting some works, Usman Bhai works, and this,
Okay.
and some journal works.
So you can see the slider, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, we just talk about we probably this course will end a little bit earlier. I mean, I know all of you have some final exam on busy of the June. Then so we probably will end a little bit earlier. Then you can focus on preparing the other final exam. And we probably Jessica and Jackie, we will spend more time on research during the summer vacation. We will talk about that later. Then talk about the JCMIT. The that is new. I'm not sure the final answer, but I heard from Jessica probably this year they won't hold the JCMIT. I personally, I yeah, because right now is already May, so it's a little bit late if we will have the JCMIT on June. So probably we won't have the JCMIT this year. So my suggestion for you who want to get the oral presentation, for the first stage defense, or you call the qualify that the next approaching deadline is the AMIA. Usually is the AMIA the March 15th. So probably you need to remember the deadline for the next year. Then also this year we won't have the APAMI also. So but we do have the math info, but already passed the deadline. Yeah. Anyone go to Beijing? Rubel, oh yeah, Rubel, yeah, I remember. Did you got the presentation there? So I cannot hear you.
Yeah, oral presentation, sir.
You have the presentation there. Okay, good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, anyway, so we will today we will continue introduce the terminology system. Then you can we can discuss what you are doing later. Okay, again, this today we will talk about the terminology system, and actually we already covered some concept in some class. So but just sometime from different perspective, we will talk about this again and again. So we all know that if you spend some time to deal with the clinical data, you know the clinical data is highly complex. They have different way to represent it. So if we want to represent the data, we need a different kind of model. For example, like storing the structured, unstructured data. Or later we will talk about what does that mean, unstructured data, and the image and the sound. And also the dynamic issue. Later we will show that in the hospital, the patient, when they stay in the hospital, they will generate a serious data. For example, today they have the blood exam, then 2 day later they will have a report for that. So they have some dynamic issue, some link. And the second thing is the large quantity. I think you all know we need the high performance database for that. So I already give you the introduction that currently we need some high computational power to deal with the data. Then so some people like we use the Hadoop. I think that the Jack's group, Professor Jack Lee, his group previously are interested about Hadoop. They try to utilize the high performance computer, distributed computer to facilitate the computation. And the third thing is the confidentiality and the privacy. I think we always talk about this. I mean, so it's hard if you want to use the hospital data for research. We usually say that please avoid that because it's hard to negotiate with the confidentiality and privacy. Last week I have a meeting with Jack. Then we just talked. One of his students, they want to develop a drug safety program or something. Then the lady want to install the software in Shanghai Hospital, but the chair or the team of our IT office just give her a hard time. They just they don't want anyone to touch their system. So you know that if you want to create a system on the online system, you need to think about that. Even the president of the hospital say okay, but you still will have the hard time. Yes. So we will talk about why we need the terminology. I think we talk about that a little bit. Then we will introduce some vocabulary in this class. Okay, narrative data. Everyone familiar with this term, the narrative data? The narrative is kind of spoken language. Narrative. If you see a TV commercial, on the bottom there's the text. Sometimes we call it the narrative data. So it's kind of if I detect what I'm saying in text, so sometimes we say that is the narrative data. So for traditionally most medical records are narrative data. So we have the medical history, physical exam, the progress note, discharge summary, radiology report, operating note. That provide a good detect for the description, the medical problem. But the problem is for computer, it's hard to understand. For the computer, they cannot understand the narrative data because I think you all have the the natural language processing is for computer to understand what we are talking. They need to transform those free text into the structured text. So you need to know that in this case, the medical history, physical exam, progress note, discharge summary, for those things, sometimes we call it unstructured data or narrative data. Okay, you need to get familiar with those terms. The good thing is the advantage is widespread, comprehensive, convenient, expressive. Yeah, I mean, for all the record we have right now is mostly our narrative data. So yeah, that is a research opportunity that you can convert those narrative data or unstructured data into structured data. Yeah, for example, extract the pathology report, like the cancer staging. Okay, and also know, like for example, it's a benign or malignancy. That is a it has a long uh, history, active research area. So if you are interested about the NLP on narrative data, that is something that you do. And probably for the Jessica research, we probably will take advantage on that, because other than disease diagnosis, I believe most all the information for you to create the condition-based prescription system are mostly are narrative there. But the good thing is the UMLs, they already have many tools help you to convert the unstructured data to structured data. So you don't need to worry that. And the disadvantage of narrative data is we all know that it's ambiguous, complex, different style, and especially the coding. We know later we will show you that the important about the coding. So yeah, here we touch a little bit about, we say the clinical data is dynamic. So we can know that we do have some diagnostic procedure, then each diagnostic procedure, then we will have, for example, if we conduct a cardiac echo, then based on this observation, the cardiologist will give the report from whether this guy is cardiomegaly or not. So you have to know that for the medical record, they not only they have a very complex meaning itself. Between the document, they also have a complex relationship. So we have talked about this before, that for the medical record, we have a lot of vocabulary, data dictionary. Then we hope we can represent the medical record in a standard way. And also we need the model, because for example, Jackie, he has his own lung cancer database. Then I also have a lung cancer database. If we want to put in data together for research, then actually we need to share the similar data structure, and also we need to have the similar terminology for that. And the knowledge model, we need to, I mean, all the things we need to store in a model. And I think we previously talked about this. For the clinical data, they have two different perspectives. Our daily record is sometimes we call the operational database. Our NHRDB data is operational database. We report all the visit on at the hospital. We detect your drug, your diagnosis, your laboratory data, and this kind of thing. That is for patient care. We call the operational database. But for the research base, we need to convert operational database into analytical database. I think previously we talked about that. For example, one guy, he has a glucose examination once a month, and you have totally have 12 measurement of the glucose for this patient. But for research, you need to know this guy is diabetes or not, then you need to give a label for the 12 consecutive glucose data. Then you need to give uh, 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 a threshold that, for example, if the glucose measurement is about 100 more than 6 times, then we believe this guy is a diabetes patient. So you can see that we, I think, yeah, we are lucky. We have NHRDB, and lots of people, we have the experience about using the NHRDB research. So we know that if we want to do the research on NHRDB, actually we did lots of the transformation from operational database and to analytic database. Then I say to Jackie that probably we can develop some tool, for example, that we can visualize the information from the operational database and the map to the analytic database. So personally, I'm thinking that developing the IR tool to facilitate the operation, transform the operational database into analytical database, I think that is a good research opportunity. And also, because that you need to deal with the big data, so there are lots of things like prediction, visualization, parallel distributed computing, yeah, that kind of thing. So we use the coded data everywhere for the clinical epidemiology, the people, the high nursing chart, whatever. We all use that. So that is a big, that also have the research opportunity on that. But it's kind of, if you are it really interested, it's good. I'm guarantee you can do something, but just you have a lot of hard work. You need to go through the true usage. And for example, the ICD-9 and ICD-10, you need to say that which is the best way to use the ICD-10. And personally, I'm doing the LOIC. Then we do have some experience that you need to teach people which is the best way to do the using the standardized terminology. And the clinical event monitoring, the disease support. Yeah, I think Jessica, what she thinking to do, I think it's kind of will rely on some disease support. I mean, he will monitor some clinical event, for example, like a diagnosis, or for example, if some people, that another more specific scenario is, for example, if one guy he has a antibiotic, a bacteria culture, then the system will just give the suggestion for the antibiotic for according the culture result. That is another good scenario. The auditing, yeah, I mean, we auditing is mean kind of some people evaluate the performance good or not, and the quality control, yeah, is always a good thing, especially like there are lots of quality thing we can do, and the indexing retrieval, that is some classic question for that, and the portability and text generation. And talk about the position about current terminology. Right now is, I think mostly is we want to create a terminology for practical use. And for the future is we hope we can provide an optimized way to I mean, for example, right, in the past we created LOIC, we created ICD-9, and right now is we hope we can use LOIC or ICD-9 best, because that is the hard issue. Like the Jack Lee, he just proposed a learning health system. One of their core task for the learning health system is how to coding disease correctly, precisely. Yeah, so that's the current statement about if you are interested right now is we want to find a optimized way to use the standardized terminology. And there are a couple terminology examination. The first is the object, concept, characteristic, and type of characteristic. And I think the object is that imply uh, any single entity on the object. And concept is kind of it's a group of object. Then if you have a group of object, then you can assign a concept for that. For example, disease can be a object. So if you have several disease, for example, you have the type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes, then you will have a concept, a more general concept called diabetes. So that is kind of more philosophy. And so that is the object and concept. So for each concept, so how you can group the object into concept, then you will based on some characteristic. So you can sometimes we can call it the variable or the demographic variable. So that is the characteristic. So so basically what we are doing for transforming the operational database into analytic database basically is we try to observe or evaluate those objects and look at whether they have some concept. Then we can use the characteristic to describe that. So yeah, it's kind of for those terms is kind of it's kind of dry, but in the future, if you are writing some paper according to this, so remember they have some term like this. You can describe this concept, okay? Only when you are writing, then you try to say something like this, then you will recall the memory. Oh, I took this class before. Then oh, they use the object, concept, characteristic, and type of characteristic to describe. For yeah, one of my first paper is characterization of LOINC usage across 3 large institutions. So you can see that it's quite simple word and describe all the things. But if you want to rephrase it, then for the characterization of usage, knowing usage, then you need to say a long sentence like, oh, collect all the knowing record from 3 hospital and try to analyze their usage and try to build the similar usage for that. But you can just use a very beautiful word that say characterization of knowledge usage. Okay, so that is one thing you need to learn when you start writing paper, that you need to know those terms. Okay. So because for the computer computer understanding, we need to give a code for that. So in this case, yeah, in here we use term called designation, but for common use we usually say the coding. Okay, in hospital we will assign like an ICD code. We will give the ICD code, or we give the disease name. Okay, so we will use the symbol term name on that. Okay, so that's we when we talk about the terminology, we use those set of terms. So I think we probably have this slide, similar slide before that. We have a concept for this, and I think what it is. I think, oh, okay, that is a parasite infection called trypanosome cruzi. Okay, so for human understanding, we use English. But for English, for Portuguese, we have different concepts. And luckily, we have ICD-9, and right now we have ICD-10. We also have the snowman. Snowman is a more broad dictionary for the ICD-10, and the metathorax that is based on the UMLS. The metathorax is the biggest umbrella for all. Okay, it's published by NLM. The Snowman ICD is all with is part of metathorax.
This is also a terminology.
Yes, yeah. And the good thing is, each concept they have a CUI for that. CUI is the concept unit identifier. So if you're really interested about convert the narrative concept, basically if you input this term, then there is a tool for metathorax called MetaMap. You can input this, then they will return this CUI for you. That's quite cool. I played a little bit about this before because you can convert the narrative or free text and into the CUI, and you can use this for the for computational. So yeah, remember that if you in your future research you need to deal with the narrative result or the unstructured text MetaMap that will help you to transform all the unstructured text for you. So here is another example, like the SARS. Okay, so in different country, they have a different term. So you can for creating this, you need to deal with the SARS acronym. So if you are creating some knowledge-based thing, you need to probably you will need to deal with this. You need to utilize the mesh heading, mesh tree, mesh entry term, and acronym. Why you needed this? Later we will describe the ontology. That will especially useful on information retrieval because when you are retrieving information that if the system know what is the, for example, the SARS, if the system know it's a respiratory syndrome, then when you type the SARS, it will return information not only the SARS itself, it will also know that is a respiratory syndrome. Then probably you can expand your search result. It will return more information to you. So, but that is a use for the ontology. Later, I will describe more. And I think we discussed this before, but yeah, but personally it's hard to differentiate those things, like terminology, thesaurus, vocabulary. But usually when we say a concept, we will refer this terminology. But if you have a set of terminology, for example, especially for the drug or particular concept and list by alphabetically, then in that case, we will say it's a thesaurus. But my personally, it's more like a dictionary. It collect or accumulate all the terms together. And the vocabulary is the thesaurus or the terminology with the definition. So in that case, called vocabulary. But that is the more strict definition about the terminology, thesaurus, vocabulary. But even I read the medical informatics paper, they are mixed use on this. But just that you know, sometimes people using the terminology, thesaurus, or vocabulary. And the nomenclature, that is more like if we define a rule for that. Let me think. I think let me find an example about the nomenclature. And classification, I think mostly, I think the best example is the disease. Okay, if we previously I just talked about the diabetes, how you make the definition about type 1 or type 2 diabetes, then you can list a set of algorithms how you classify the disease. So that is the classification. So the coding system for this, for the complex concept, we will create a code for that. Okay. Usually we will have a code and also have a name. For example, you see the ICH, they have not only have the IC9 name called. Let me show you this. So you look at the ICD 9 for each concept. For example, the subarachnoid hemorrhage, they have a human readable part, but they also have the code. That is for computational purpose. I mean, for computer, 430 it's much easier to handle. Okay, but for human that subarachnoid hemorrhage, that will be more can be understood. So for in this case, this concept, we have the code part, we also have the name part. Okay. So yeah, I mentioned that the ontology. Everybody familiar with the ontology? Previously, we said that ontology is kind of hierarchy concept. For example, the antibiotic, then we can classify the antibiotic to gram-positive or gram-negative. So we can have a hierarchy for that. So based on sometimes if you want to find a more general concept, then you can use their parent to retrieve the information. I think later we will have examples. Okay, so okay, that is some about the definition about some terminology. Then the following we will introduce some common terminology we use for the clinical. So everyone familiar with the history about the ICD-9, the ICD, International Classification of Disease. Do you know the history? Do you know how old is the ICD? I think the ICD, they have more than 200 year history. originally why they have this idea is start from French. I think is back to that time. There are some clinical researcher. They are curious about. They want to make the statistic about the top uh, death reason for that moment. So, but you have to think that is 200 years ago. So at that time, even they don't have the formal name for each disease. Okay, so for the statistician, they can calculate what is the top 10 death reason, then the statistician and they work with the physician. They provide. I remember at the beginning is less than 100 of disease name, so they provide the official name for the each disease. So you know that after they have the official name for each disease, so then they can make a statistic about for the calculation. So that's the original idea is why we need a international classification of disease is because everybody have their own language or description about disease. But if you want to pull in data together for analysis, then you need to use the same language. So that's the original idea of that. But we know it's hard to deal with that. So in the past, in the last several decades, we don't have too much progress about the ICD. I remember we have ICD 2, 3 something, but the most popular is the ICD 9. It's after the popular use of computer. Okay, so right now we all know that uh, if we want to make statistic about the disease, then we know we can utilize the ICD-9. Okay, but the problem, the ICD-9 still have their own limitation, and because I remember the first version of ICD-9 is around 1980 something. Then we know we keep have a new disease, then but the ICD-9 they didn't keep update that. And the second thing is the ICD-9 is kind of uh, general concept. So for some disease, uh, if the ICD-9 they didn't provide a fine enough concept for that, so they created ICD-10. But the ICD-10 they create more difficulty because even for ICD-9 it's complicated enough, but the ICD-10 they create more possibility about the combination. So even for the US, they are pioneer. They created the ICD-9 10, but they still have struggling on ICD-10. I remember previously they have I think 2015 is kind of they will replace the ICD-9 by ICD-10, but so far they didn't do that yet. And in Taiwan, we do use ICD-10 right now, but people say that they still have lots of trouble. So, but the good thing is the trouble does mean that is a good research the, opportunity. Okay, and CPT4 we don't utilize this a lot. We don't utilize this a lot in Taiwan. But CPT4 is mostly used for the claiming for the billing purpose. In US, for example, if you want to claim you have a blood test exam, then the hospital, they are mandate, they need to submit your laboratory data. And for example, you have the blood exam due to the diabetes, then you need to submit the procedure code for that and cooperate with the laboratory data. Then, oh, this one probably the similar idea about the Jessica thinking. This one is more like a condition based, because you will have some certain condition, then you will have a laboratory exam. That's quite similar. You can say that based on the procedure code, then you can guess what kind of lab you are doing. Okay, that's a CBD. That's similar for that. And SNOMED, you all know that original the SNOMED is from the American Pathology Group, and it covered mostly the clinical term. Then currently the SNOMED, they become international organization, especially they merge with the UK system, the UK NHS system. So right now it's become the new organization called HIT. Yeah, I always cannot remember how to pronounce this. Actually, Histo or something. They have a way to pronounce it, but I always cannot remember. And Taiwan, we have this organization too. Yeah.
But SNOMED or which one?
The IHT.
Yeah, but which terminology is maintained by this organization?
Oh, it's held by Professor Liu, his student. I don't think they are actively doing this, but I do remember they have a launch meeting, or they try to create a IHT-STO organization in Taiwan, because we do have this need. I mean, in Taiwan we do use the ICD-9, ICD-10. Then we have some discussion about using the SNOMED. That's a big issue, because the SNOMED, we only can pay by cannot pay by individual. It should pay by country. But you know, Taiwan is in a very complicated status, that so our Department of Health, that they have some political issues. So Taiwan, we don't pay the SNOMED by country. I remember the fees is around 400,000. Sorry, is like 4 million. Yeah, like 4 million. Yeah, I remember it's like 4 million. 4 million. Yes, around 4 or 3,000 US dollar, that kind of thing. But one of my senior who currently he is the leader of the Taiwan's VA EHR system. They have discussion about this. They are thinking about choosing the terminology. So, but the problem is we only have SNOMED right now, and but for the license issue, that we cannot use SNOMED legally. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I need to go to the hospital. I'll take 5 minutes break. So.
Bye-bye. I'm going to the washroom.
I am in online.
We are going to the toilet.
Okay.
So were you? Oh, for the you from Bangladesh, right?
Yes.
Are you military?
No.
No. Okay. Because my wife, she previously studied in Japan. Lots of her
Classmate
classmates
from Bangladesh.
study. They are military, so they are required to go back in 4 years period. Yeah. So
That's
that
the government policy. Yes.
Yeah.
In Japan, Thailand, many military personnel.
yeah. One day my wife asked me, "Oh, is your
Student.
because she just attended some conference. She met him, so he just recall there's the military issue. So, Rubel, are you back?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, great. Okay, the UMLS. If you are interested about NLP, you can try the UMLS. I don't know right now any of our professor using the UMLS right now. Maybe the Professor John he utilized, but in our department I don't know too many people that are using the UMS, and so but it's a good tool if you try to uh, convert the free text into structured text, then UMS is quite powerful. For example,
Maybe
what?
Professor Dai is maybe doing this one. Professor Dai, or Professor Dai, he left this university, joined another university. Professor Hong.
From our department?
Yes, Professor Dai.
Lai?
Yeah.
Dai. Oh, yeah, Dai Hongjie. Yeah. I remember one of our colleagues they use maybe it's Professor Dai. Professor Dai who just got promoted to associate professor. I remember. Yeah. But so if you are interested, that is good tool. For example, about when doing my master thesis, I try to create the gene name and the disease relationship. So at that time, I don't have tool that can help me to capture the gene name from the free text. So I need to create my own version of NLP to extract the gene name from the PubMed article. So right now you have the UMLS. It can help you to capture the gene name from the free text. Then that'll be pretty powerful. So yeah, if probably Jessica want to create knowledge for condition based to drug. I remember in Wanbang they have a research project. They say that maybe they can create a system. They can create a suggestion for the drug according from the literature. So
Yeah, genomic project, sir. So
yeah.
I also worked 3 days with Alan.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned, yeah, Alan Finn, the knowledge grid, who is the head of the knowledge grid project, the pharmacogenomics in Wangpang Hospital.
Yeah, I think there's a lady who is in the pharmacology department. They have something like that. So creating the knowledge base is yeah, that's important thing. I mean, the future of learning hospital. We create all the thing is we want to extract any useful knowledge from big data or our operational database and create a useful knowledge base, and use the knowledge base can help to facilitate the healthcare. So yeah, I think if you create the knowledge, the UMS is something you should be familiar with. Okay, yeah, the UMS snowman. So I already covered a little bit the history that if you need to use the snowman, you need to pay. But in US, because the snowman is part of snowman is part of UMLS. So in US, the NLM already paid a fee, so it's free if you use the snowman in US. That's fine. But for in Taiwan, if you want to use the commercial use for the snowman, then that will become a problem. And LOINC, I think everybody know the LOINC. Previously, I give you personally, I studied the LOINC. So LOINC is for the laboratory name. Okay, that is, they have the code and also have name, and they provide the lab procedure or representation. And IC10. Okay, we all know that right now is in the transition from 9 to 10. So yeah, there are lots of people. If you are interested about doing the coding, that is a good research opportunity. And yeah, I don't want to struggle this. What is the Pythagoras nomenclature? But you know, all this is kind of dictionary vocabulary. Okay, then I want to cover some part of the very fundamental concept about the terminology. Then you should familiar with to utilize the following concept. So let's I will explain this a little bit slowly. Then you should know the heart of the terminology. Everyone knows this term, atomic 原子. Everyone, it's a physics term, atomic. That means the minimum building part, the minimum element of the thing. In that case, called atomic. That means you can imagine that it's talking about the philosophy that if, I mean, for human, for the light, or for the cell phone, they all made by different lots of material, but the minimum is, or the smallest building block is from the atomic level. So it's the same for the medical meaning. Is, for example, when I say cardiomegaly, actually cardiomegaly is not an atomic concept, because atomic is mean you cannot divide it into two parts. So that is the smallest building block. So in this case, cardiomegaly, they have two concepts. One is the cardio, the heart, and also have the megaly, is mean hypertrophy. So in this case, we will say that for the concept, we will say, in this case, we call the granularity. So you know that the SNOMED or the vocabulary, they at the beginning they try to create the atomic concept for that. So for example, the left upper arm fracture, the left is an atomic concept, upper is an atomic concept, and the arm is an atomic concept, and the fracture is an atomic concept. So by assemble those atomic concepts, you can create or you can represent a more sophisticated concept. So so when we discuss the terminology, sometimes we will say a more general or more specific. A more specific, sometimes we say a more fine grain. Okay, let me see. Okay, so in the opposite side of the atomic, then another term is called molecular. Molecular is mean it's assemble. You can break down the complex concept into several atomic concepts. Okay, let me check. Okay, so basically, they have two strategy on creating the terminology. One is create the concept by atomic concept. So they have the left arm fracture, but there is another way called molecular concept. So, for example, here is the abnormal weight gain. So basically, here is kind of a complex concept. They containing the abnormal, they containing the weight, they also contain the gain. So using the SNOMED, they have different way to represent this concept. They can use this a SNOMED code called abnormal. They have another SNOMED weight and also have a gain concept. So after composite all of this, then they can create a concept. In this case, we call atomic or molecular. And another more we use, in this case, we call pre-coordinate. We put several concepts together and create a new concept. In this case, we call pre-coordinate. And in this case, we call post-coordinate. We create a single concept, then we add them together. So in that case, we call pre and post coordinate. So they are not, both of them have the pros and cons. We will discuss a little bit. For the pre-coordinate, the problem is we know that for the clinical use, we have too many concepts. So if you want to create all the concept, then you need to create a lot of term. For example, if you want to describe the fracture, the location of fracture, you will have tons of terms to create. Left upper arm, and left hand, right hand, right upper arm, right lower leg. So if you want to create all for each location, create a term, then you will meet a combinational explosion problem. So in that case, use the post coordinate like the snowman. They give you a concept called left and upper, lower, and leg. Then you can use that to create your own. But right now, we already know that the pre and the post coordinate, they both of them are not perfect. I can tell the conclusion directly. Knowing is kind of pre-coordinate concept. They try to create all the concept, and snowman is kind of post-coordinate. They try to provide an atomic concept. So the problem is Loink it's okay, but just they create too many concept. But snowman, I think previously I mentioned in 2008, they in US they published a paper about arguing that using snowman because of pre and post coordinate different strategy. They tried to ask 3 commercial companies to use snowman to code in a rare disease questionnaire. Then they found out they have 3 different ways to use the snowman. So basically, we hope we can use standardized terminology to exchange data. Then it turned out we just cannot. Okay, so that is in reality the Loink way, the pre-coding, they already generate a concept. It's better. Like using the snowman, they try to provide like the left upper arm fracture. Then you will need another model to do that, because you want to put the laterally in the first column, or you want to put the fracture in the first column. For example, in here, in one hospital, say left upper arm fracture, and another hospital is stored say fracture arm left. So then for each term we do have a standardized terminology. We all use the snowman, but just when you represent a more complex information, then you will need another model to do it for it. So yeah, I mean, this part is pretty hard. I mean, all over the world, quite few people can discuss this, but I just tell you the conclusion that is the snowman right now, they for those common use thing, they try to create a pre-coordinate concept. Like we can see that the left upper arm fracture is kind of common thing. They just create a term for that. So that's a big challenge in the past 10 years, that the snowman, that each histo, they realized that the original concept of strategy of snowman is not good, because they're just too flexible. So everybody, they use a different way to represent analogy. So they create a trouble. So right now, I can just tell you the conclusion that the pre-coordinate is better. Even though it's kind of, you will have the combination explosion problem, but we just create the common use one, and that's fine. I mean, generally, for common usage, usually the concept is less than 500. So you just create a set for that. Then the meaning is more precise and no ambiguity. So just remember, for creating the terminology, we will have this kind of atomic approach or molecular approach. The atomic is mean post-coordinate. They just create some small building block that you can composite by yourself. And pre-coordinate is mean they already put everything together. It's kind of molecular approach. So yeah. So, but I guess you will forget this concept. But just let you remember, for discussion the terminology, you should know we have pre-coordinate and post-coordinate. They just have different approach to create the terminology. But currently for practical use, we think the pre-coordinate is a better way. We just, for example, if we need the abnormal weight gain, we just create a code for that. Then otherwise, you use snowman, you create the weight and the gain and the abnormal, then just make things too complicated. So I will skip this. Okay, so yes, this some real case about the HL7 message. We use the HL7. It's not the previous. I mentioned the semantic and the syntactical. So HL7 actually is a syntactic standard for passing the message. So you can see they use the vertical bar to delimit the information. So then each message, they have a header. The OBR, I think, is a name for the observation. OBS, I think, is a value for that. So here is a laboratory, I think is Rick Garner. I think that he is previous our dean of our medical informatics department, and from the LDS hospital, and they have the serum electrolyte measurement. They have a panel. They measure the sodium, potassium, chloride, CO2, and also have the associated value and the volume. So that is happening in one hospital. Then we say that for LOINC, we replace this by standard terminology. So LOINC is to replace this. Okay, this is HL7. So here is the definition about how you store the data in each segment. Okay, so probably right now, you don't need to go through the detail. I mean, I think right now the commercial software, they can parse in those information for you. So, but you just let you know that for computer, if you want to transmit information, it's kind of very complicated. That you need to specify the syntax. That you also for the syntactically for each meaning it carry, you also need to take care about the semantic. Okay. So yeah, I remember this is a question for my PhD qualification. Can you describe a little bit the requirement for interoperability to exchange meaning? So for computer, we really need to care about the semantic and the syntactic. And for the syntactic, it's those like HL7 message. And semantic is like using the LOINC or SNOMAD or the ICP. Okay, so that's the heart of. So probably right now, the common used one, the HL7, LOINC, is SNOMAD. And for the representation, I think right now, the pre-post coordinate, I think right now we believe the pre-coordinate is better. Okay, this is how they okay, this another even this you for the blood type you can have the atomic level for representation or molecule. So they want to for the blood type you can have the ABO and the subtype RH, and also you can just have a concept called ABO RH. So one hospital can store observation. They use two segment. One is ABO and O and RH positive, and the molecule. So the pros and cons for each one is the first one is more flexible. So okay, you don't need to create that. But for computer is when writing the program, the first one is much difficult because you need to capture the first line and you need to capture the second line. Even when you write in the program, for the first one is much difficult. You need when you scan the message, you need to keep the memory on that. And for the second one is much easier. So it's much for the coding, it's better. But the problem is you need to create this dictionary. Okay. Here is this. So this is another example for the systolic blood pressure. Okay, and the CT. Okay, and this. So that is another different type of knowledge representation. So the final, I mean, there is no no absolutely right or wrong, but it depends on for the general ubiquitous. Everybody familiar with this term. Ubiquity is mean everywhere. So it's mean sometimes is based on the philosophy like LOINC. Sometimes on based on design, sometimes the best way it's not the best way in the reality. So when we consider which is the best way to use the terminology, then ubiquity is mean more people using is are best. Okay, so that is some common our the conclusion. And personally, I have one word from my PhD. I say the minimalist is the best thing because minimalist is mean always try to find the simplest way to solve the question, because the conclusion is the clinical setting just too complicated. And Loink original design, they try to create a perfect thing for use. But the problem is it's just too complicated. Even you create a very, very precise and very ideal one, but the problem is just too complicated. Nobody can understand. So the reality is people just neglect those tiny differences. So the original thinking is the Loink, I use the Loink for example, is they try to create a very sophisticated code to represent the precise meaning, but the reality is just too complicated. For example, let me think about what is the good example for that. Any good example for that? Yeah, another synergy for that is like the ICD-9. For example, the cervical spine trauma. I mean, the ICD-9, they have a very different category of cervical spine injury. But for clinical doctor, we just cannot remember all the small code. For example, for me, sometimes I need to go to the ER department. Then I need to see a lot of low back pain patient. But actually, the low back pain can classify into lithasis or degenerative or ruptured disc, whatever. There are tons of concepts. But for me, I just cannot remember all of them. So all the time, I just type low back pain, lumbago. So I use the general term for that. So when we, I think the conclusion for this class is say that for practical use, we do not use a too sophisticated system, because when it is too complicated, then people will make mistake. Then if people make mistake, then the information cannot be consistent. So that will cause another trouble. So when talking about the trade-off on the different strategy of using standardized terminology, then we always need to think about the humans practical use. So yeah. So, but just let you know that using the standardized terminology is kind of a difficult way. So if you are interested about doing the research with this, there are tons of things we can do. So yeah, it's still welcome. If anyone like the Zhiyang, he is planning to use to evaluate the loan usage on the medical center across the Taiwan. Then we do have some experience about criticize evaluate the loan usage. We do have some good result that we found some problem. Then we feedback to the loan committee. Then they change the loan design. So I think that is something quite useful. So yeah, I think that if you are planning to get a job in US, Loink, ICD 10-9, how to map correctly or evaluate. If you have some job, your working experience having this on your job title, I guarantee you can easily find a job. Yeah. it's hard. I mean, all over the world, it's hard to find a people to have the experience on this. But just a little bit, it's a little bit too much for you if you just utilize the NHRDB or the clinical data. But I think it's good for you that having some idea about the terminology design and the limitation. Yeah. But this is hard. I mean, I took this class for once as a student, 3 years for research assistant, for TA, then I can teach. But it's easy. It's hard to forget again. But only one day you face the similar problem, then you will recall the memory. Oh, I heard this before. Yeah, even the pre and post coordinate, I will misuse at the beginning. Okay, so everybody, are you in town next week? Yeah, I say that we are going to have dinner, but how about everyone? The next week, Wednesday, I will find some restaurant near the TMU. The next Wednesday, is everybody okay? I plan to go to eat the Italian food. Everyone, is anyone veggie in our group?
Rubel and me, we do not take the pork. Yes, Rubel?
Pork. Okay. No problem. Okay. So I will. I plan to go to a restaurant in 101 building.
There's many restaurants.
Yeah, the 5th floor, 水鸟地方. There's an Italian restaurant. That's nice place. Yeah, I think it's in the middle of class. We can have some fun there. So I will send out the time, okay? But I think it's around 6 or 6:30. Okay, next Wednesday. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So class will not held next.
Yeah, we just it's kind of free talk about some summer project, and yeah. Okay. I will try to invite the Zhiyang and the Miss Wu. Okay. Okay, that's probably all for today. So any question or anything we want to discuss before? I mean, we probably have four time or 5 time before end of this semester. Yeah, it's a little bit different from the original design. Is original. We plan we will have some data and play a little bit with the data, but it seems like because the quick and dirty is I give you some NHRDB thing that work, but for the long term, I mean for your graduation, that is not good, because since for you the programming technique, the statistical, you are not quite familiar with yet. So I postponed it a little bit, but I still encourage you that think about. Today I already give you some idea that we still can think. Then maybe during the summer we will have more time. Then we can conduct the research then and catch up on your graduation schedule. Maybe during the summer we will make a more hard deadline for you, especially Jackie. Yeah, you probably will have some approaching deadline. So Rubel, right now you are officially entering the PhD track already, right? Or you still finish your master?
Master, sir, it takes 2 months to finish my master's.
Yeah.
2 months.
So did you have everything on hand? I mean, did you need to write the thesis for that, the master?
Yes, sir. So I just started, and I'm just collecting some result from other persons. So he analyzed some data. He is also helping.
So when is the deadline for your defense?
Defense date is maybe June, last week.
Oh, remember, book the defense time with your committee member as soon as possible.
Yes, sir. The Professor Shabir sir already selected the one is Jack sir, one is Professor Wu.
Oh, okay,
So,
yeah.
uh,
I think this Shabir, he is punctual. I mean, if you work with Jack, then because Jack is kind of too, not just too busy, just too professor. So you know what I mean. I mean, he just yeah. I mean, I mean, he focuses on different things. But Shabir, I mean, yeah, he is safe. I mean, he will guarantee you everything on time. Okay, I think, yeah, so great. I mean, okay, so we will see each other the next Wednesday. I will send out the time and place.
okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.